are fakirs and travelers and people that are very intriguing, but you don't know anything about them. Um, those were the references to Piyush's character or the storyteller's character in Tamasha. This was. I remember that I had seen a guy who was singing a very interesting song when I was in before I started college actually, and he was a fakir. He was asking for money actually, perhaps, and him and other people that you see around dargahs sometimes, and these mystical people you don't know where they are from, etc. Those were my references.
Okay. She also asks, also, what do you think happens in Ved's life after he starts living as he always wanted to?
What happens in Ved's life is that Ved, in my mind, becomes this magical, charming person who speaks from the heart, and he's extremely successful. He is extremely happy and warm as a person in his life, and very successful. So, if you're thinking of leaving your job and you don't know what had happened to Ved, he was very successful.
Okay. Erica, she's from Peru. She says, my serious question, when do you aim to create a story that has locations here in South America?
Erica, I somehow coincidentally, these are the questions that I had also marked out to answer personally. And Erica, I have replied on your on the page for you for this question. And I just feel so refreshed that somebody from Peru is even talking to me. I feel that I'm so anxious and so eager to come down to Peru because I've read about it. I love the food there. I love the old art of your culture. And I wish I can come soon. But it's really refreshing to just be talking to you right now because you're from Peru.
Jeet Maurya, so is there a possibility of a Rockstar sequel? We're waiting for it.
Well, I don't know whether there's any story left with the Rockstar, and if there is, then it will come to light. But even if it does, it should come a little later. Sometimes, like Rahman sir and Ranbir and we sometimes talk about that, and I think there is a bit of a feeling in each one of us, like Rahman sir was mentioning, should we do it again later? There's a lot that we have to do musically, and there's a lot that this character can now engage with. But it will be perhaps better if it happens a little later, when this man is, 10 years later or something of that sort. So perhaps, let's see. But there has to be something very interesting to be told, otherwise there's no point making a sequel.
Okay. Sayantani,
Shayantani. Yeah.
She's asking, how did Tara happen? So basically she wants to know about the character.
The character of Tara happens in the life of every Ved. I feel that there's always a girl that can relieve a guy of the circuitous and confusing paths that he's living on. And I've seen a lot of these girls who are very bright and sharp and somehow very clean in the way that they think and they talk. So it happened from like that, I think.
Okay. Advocate Pankaj Deshpande, how do you manage to do such good and different movies and move audiences?
Advocate Pankaj Pandey, I don't have any method to the madness, and there's a share of Ghalib which says that आते हैं गैब से ये मज़ामी ख्याल में, in the way that it's from the unknown that these thoughts come. So I don't know. There's nothing that I do deliberately.
Okay. Shubham Agarwal wants to know, how does one achieve discipline in life? Do you have any discipline in life?
I feel that if you start doing things that you like, then you automatically become disciplined and hardworking and rigorous and all of those things. It is easier to be disciplined if you're doing what you love doing. So try that.
Okay. Chirag Gupta, hello sir, your Rockstar and Tamasha are one of my favorites, but I couldn't get symbolism of recurring clown scenes in Tamasha. Could you explain?
Well, the clown is the unexpected, the unknown quantity in a person's mind and in his heart that does not want to be decent, who does not want to impress you by being nice and sociable, So it is that quantity that creates art in the mind, in the heart. So the uneven, the unexpected perhaps. So that is what the clown represents in Tamasha. That's why the clown keeps coming back when there is freedom, when you break out of the system, then there is the unpredictability that the clown represents.
Yeah. Vignesh Balan.
Vignesh.
His question is, when will you make a film in South Indian languages? Will you?
Well, I need to know the language that I'm making films on. The only languages that I know right now is Hindi and English, and I think I'd be an utter failure if I made a South Indian film. But what I can do is later on perhaps write the screenplay or the story for them. Maybe even produce them, but direction will be a problem.
Herman, many people say that you are different from most directors.
Yeah, again, Hermine. You can take coffee. Yeah, you can take coffee. Hermine. See, I got the right pronunciation ultimately for your name. I had marked down your question to be answered as well. And one of the questions was that people tell me that I'm a different director.
Do you consider that as a compliment,
or is it really the reality?
And why so?
And why so? So, being a different director gives me mixed feelings. Sometimes I don't want to be a different director. I just want to be a regular director because that seems to be more accepted. And being irregular or different also makes you feel as though is there something wrong. I don't know whether that's the truth. I would be happy if I just I'm allowed to make movies one after the other. So as long as I'm a director, I'm fine. I don't really care whether this is an insult or whether it's a compliment.
There is one same thing in your stories where one strong female character changes the way of thinking of the male protagonist and then he tries to search the meaning of life. Why is that?
Yeah, I know that there are some things that recur in my movies, and one of them is that a woman helps a man find himself. And I feel that that's a part of what I see in my life and also a part of what I like in my life. I guess that could be the answer.
Angelica, her question is, hi, you created magic out of complicated relationships. Who was your inspiration?
Angelica, there is no one inspiration. I feel there are many small inspirations. And the inspiration was actually spelled out in Tamasha, calling it the Sapno Ki Malika. And now that I look back at Tamasha, I feel that even the inspiration is feminine. So that's the best I can do to answer this question.
Okay. Parikshit Sharma. Sir, why is Vedvardhan Sahni reading Catch-22 in Tamasha? There are two more people who asked the same question.
Well, Catch-22 is just an interesting book which I'd recommend everyone to read, and it is also so crazy and so funny that I feel that a guy like Ranbir in Tamasha, that is Ved, would definitely read it. And to everyone who has a capacity for strange kind of humor, definitely read Catch-22.
Okay. Neetal Mistry. I found few, very little though, but parallels in the story between the book The Kashmiri Storyteller by Ruskin Bond and the movie, especially the Javed Khan character in the book. Of course, the storyline ends up different, but were you inspired by him at all?
Ruskin Bond's story, The Kashmiri Storyteller, I have not read. The Kashmiri Storyteller, is it?
Yeah.
And who's asking?
Neetal Mistry.
Neetal Mistry. I have not read, I didn't know that there's a story called The Kashmiri Storyteller by Ruskin Bond, but Ruskin Bond had another story which was The Flight of Pigeons, which had a Javed Khan, of course, and there was Junoon made out of that. So it is possible that there'd be a parallel there, but I don't think there's any parallel between Junoon, the film that I admire a lot and that I'm very impressed by, and Tamasha. I don't think there's any parallel there. So Kashmiri Storyteller I have not read, so I don't know.
Okay. Aparna Iyer, she firstly
Aparna
wants to thank
Iyer.
you. She says it's already been a year and I don't think there has been ever a day where I haven't thought about it.
Thanks,
it's
Aparna.
your best film. It's
Thank
been
you.
huge reference for me as a theatre artist.
Yeah, hi, I'm back. So
Yeah.
we were talking to
Aparna Iyer.
Aparna Iyer, so theatre.
Yeah, her question is, when can we see you work with Deepika and Ranbir again?
Whenever there's a story, I was seeing some interviews of me, Deepika and Ranbir, and I felt that there's a great sense of comfort. But I feel that we shouldn't be working all the time together, and we should only work despite a personal friendship when there is a need to work. So I hope the need arises and pretty quickly, and we'll do it.
Okay. Shardul has 3
Shardul.
questions. Yes. First one being, with a story so detailed and intricately crafted, how much of it is autobiographical?
Tamasha is autobiographical to me only to the extent that it is to you or to everybody, because somebody had written that there's a Ved in everybody. There's always some hesitation, and there's some quantity of of wanting to do something and having to do something else, etc., which was there in my life as well to some extent. And I was fighting with some devils, and but nothing beyond that. It's not my personal story. My dad is not a mean person. He did not ask me not to do theatre, etc.
This question is a repeat of, as you've answered a little, but he goes on to ask, do you yourself feel trapped within the role play?
No,
Like
I
we
don't.
are all-
See, I'm aware of the fact that the pressure of a society or a community might trap you in an image. So, since I'm aware of it, I'm kind of fighting it. I don't feel trapped. I don't feel trapped anymore, but I feel that it's possible to get trapped.
And he asks, do you think in reality, Ved's father or his girlfriend for that matter would come to terms with Ved के अंदर क्या है so quickly and effectively?
Well, in reality, it takes time for somebody to completely understand somebody else, but there's no stipulated time period for anybody to accept anything. Some things happen very quickly, and some things take longer than they do in movies, and some things never happen. So it really cannot be said. But I feel now that I know or seem to know Tara and the father of Ved, I feel that they would, by the end of the movie, accept uske andar kya hai.
Dhalini Mishra, Tamasha was lively, very true and around real life circumstances. I want to know why Tara decided to wait and search for Ved, and how did she know that she will find him?
Yeah, I feel that, we didn't see that part of Tara's life, but I feel that after she goes away from Delhi, after Agar Tum Saath Ho song, she tried to carry on with her life, and it was not as though she was trying to be with other guys or something of that sort, but she took to her profession, etc., and tried to go away from the feeling or thought of Ved. But there was something in her that was waiting for him to appear, and when he does, then she kind of goes back to him. Just read the question, not the whole frame.
Okay.
Otherwise, it's
Sandeep Brahmabhat.
Sandeep Brahmabhat.
Why did you delete the scene where Ved asks for money to tell a story?
Well, I really like that scene where Ved asks money to tell the story. I think it was very elemental, but the movie was becoming very long. There were so many things in the movie that I had to strike off, which I personally liked, but because I thought that the movie will be still okay without them. So this was one of the things that I lost from the film.
Rojwal Dev, he is
Rojwal Dev.
Yeah, he's trying to make a movie himself, and he wants to know, can you share your experience of making your first film and all the struggles that you overcame?
All the best, Rojwal, for making your films. My advice will not be valid to you because my set of experiences was different from yours, and as they would be different from anybody else. I just feel that the closer you are to your story, the better it is. And use your mind at all times. And remember that there is nothing very complicated about direction. It is only common sense, ultimately. And never give that up.
Swapnil Sharma. Tamasha brought to light the Ved syndrome. Many youngsters like fall in the same category. What is your advice to them?
Well, advice doesn't really work. The name is
Swapnil Sharma.
Swapnil Sharma. Ved syndrome. This is this is funny. Ved syndrome. Yeah. Advice. See, advice is already there in the movie Tamasha. After watching the movie Tamasha, my friend recently told me she was going through some whatever thing in her life, and I just told her to watch that scene where Ved is talking to the storyteller. So whatever I had to say has been put into Tamasha, I think.
Diljot Grewal. The Rickshawala became a very iconic character from the film. Is there anyone you met in real life that inspired you?
Is that Diljot?
Yeah.
Diljot Grewal. Yes, lots of people I've met who are like the rickshawala, and sometimes I feel that I'm also like that. And liftmen I have met. I have met taxi drivers who feel that they are something else, and especially rickshawalas, I feel, because they spend so much time just driving around on the streets. They come into some sort of a zone in their lives, I feel, and in which they remain that hero. And they feel that they're looking from the outside as well, like that. I've met lots of people like that.
Okay. Sandeep Brahmadat.
Sandeep Brahmadat.
Your characters travel a lot. How do you inculcate that into films? Because you yourself have been a traveler, or is there some part of you in it?
I feel that when I travel, I feel a sense of liberation, and my mind and heart is involved, and a lot of things come to my mind which later become stories. And when I make movies out of those stories, I have to travel back again to make those films, and then when I'm traveling again, I'm kind of seeing more things. So I think travel is a part of a cyclical process in my mind and in my work, and I'm very thankful about it.
Makran Kendre.
Makran Kendre.
Your lead character in every film is wearing a kada.
Oh, really? Lead character in Rockstar is wearing a kada. Even in The Ring, he's wearing a kada, because these guys are but also in some movies, of course, the Saif's character in Love Aajkal would wear the kada. He's Sikh. But I don't think Abhay's character, Viren, was wearing a kada, or even Aditya Kashyap was wearing a kada. Geet was wearing a kada because she's Sikh, so she'd wear a kada. So these characters, most of them are Sikhs if they wear a kada, because they wear a kada. And in Rockstar, a lot of people in Delhi, especially Punjabis, or sometimes they have a connection with the Sikh faith, or maybe with the Gurudwara, So they wear a kada. So that's why Jordan wears a kada.
Amay Rajkumar, how did the lyrics by Irshad Kamil affect and enhance the film?
Amay, Irshad's contribution as a lyricist is almost like a screenwriter and a co-director sometimes, because he is involved, and a lot of things that need to be expressed in a lyrical manner and not through dialogue, he writes as lyrics. So a song like Tu Koi Aur Hai Janta Hai Tu really spells out what's going on in the nerve center of the film, and these are not words that can be written in dialogue, because it will be very fake if somebody says Tu Koi Aur Hai Janta Hai Tu at that point of time. And many others, even if you see the lyrics of Matar Gashti, it really spells out the life and times of these two characters over there. And that goes on for all songs in Tamasha. It kind of brings out a perspective that is needed in the dynamic of telling that particular story in a very poetic manner. So I feel that Irshad really helps me make the movies that I do. Hermine.
How is it possible to depict so sharply about a person's psychological state as you can manage?
I think you can manage to, Hermine. I think you have a perception about people, and you write a lot of poetry, and also the kind of poetry that you appreciate. And I thank you for sending Pushkin back to my life, and I really benefit out of that. You have a perception too, and this is intuitive and instinctive. It cannot be drawn or learned or taught. And you don't know where it comes from. So it comes from an unknown space, as I said some time back, and I don't know whether I have it, but I know that you have it.
Taqir Khan.
Taqir Khan.
All of us who listen to our instinct or want to do what they love, want to become an artist. Is it if you're not an artist?
So if you listening to your heart doesn't mean only becoming an artist, and it could be becoming a doctor as well. And there are people who have been in different kinds of professions which are not artistic necessarily, but that's the call of their heart. Like Tara in the same movie Tamasha does not want to become an artist. The call of her heart is to do something else, which perhaps she's already doing. So whether everybody will succeed or not, I don't know. But by doing something that you don't like, your performance will definitely be not as good. So there is no guarantee of success in doing what you don't like either. So you might as well do what you like.
Devayan Sinha, how do you choose your cinematographer? Like from Anil Mehta to Ravi Verman, what do you see in a cinematographer?
What's this?
Devayan Sinha.
Devayan Sinha, a cinematographer, is, I feel, a filmmaker and should have a vision about the story, and should also be a person that you could be comfortable in the presence of, because the greatest conversation through the movie is with the actors and with the cinematographer. For me, for a director. So, and also the actors should feel very happy performing in front of the cinematographer, because he's the eye through which we see the film. He should be also an easy person that sets you to ease. So these are the two things I look for.
Saad Baloch, where did you read the quote, the one that you used in Rockstar, about the lost birds in Sadahak?
Saad
Baloch.
Saad Baloch. Lost birds in, yeah, I'll tell you where I heard that. There's I saw it in a play by Manav Kaul that happened at Prithvi. And in that play, there was an existentialist writer that was quoted. I forgot who it was, but he was quoted. I think it was the play was called The Red Sparrow, and there was an existentialist writer that was quoted in that play who had originally written this thought of, when the jungle was cut, the red sparrow flew away, and I'm looking for it. Something of that sort. And then I kind of put that into Rockstar in a slightly different way.
Ayushi Bothra, do you plan to explore more genres?
I don't know.
Ever plan to make a biopic?
I will always make the movie that comes to me. Biopic, I don't know. There is the only interesting idea that I have about a biopic is Amir Khusro, which is really far into history, and I don't know what to do about that. But no, I don't think I'm much into biopics, honestly. And genre is something that after I make the movie, people will tell me what genre it was. I'm not really thinking genre at all.
Imtiaz Singh, how do you go about writing story?
Imtiaz Singh, no, I just, stories are going on in the mind, and then at some point of time I just put it on paper, whatever is going on in my mind, to record it. That's how I write stories.
Jimmy Piproria, hi sir, did you have any happy ending thought for Highway?
Jimmy Piproria, I feel that the ending of Highway in a way is a happy ending. It's not as though there's those two people coming together and living life would be too stilted. It wouldn't be happy, because it would leave me at least with a sense of this is not true or this is not going to last. Incidentally, since the topic is about Tamasha, I feel that another alternate ending of Tamasha would be that Ranbir's character, that is Ved, reaches Tara in that conference in Japan, and he finds that she's already moved on and is with somebody else. And although he feels sad about the fact that he has lost her in his personal life, but he tells her that in his life as an artist, she will always be the muse. And he goes back with this sad and happy feeling, and she still remains the goddess, the inspiration, the Sapno ki Malika, and he continues to do theatre. I thought that could have been a good ending.
Niyati Shukla.
Niyati Shukla.
Women in your films have a very raw, realistic presence. How do you manage that?
Raw, realistic presence is all I see of women when I see them in life, and I guess that's how it becomes like so in the film.
Amay, do stories really end the way we want, or apni kahani apna end?
Amay, it is true that we have only limited time in a movie, so you've got to end at a certain point. But if the story would go on, even if it would go on, the concept of apni kahani apna end would definitely be there. You will find a way of dictating, manipulating, turning around, changing the course of your own story to reach the end that is most desirable to you. Even if it is not statedly recognized by yourself, you do reach where you'd like to reach ultimately. That's what I believe.
Devyana Srivastav, how do you select your breathtaking locations?
Devyana, I travel. Usually when I'm writing a story, I already have an idea of where it could be placed. And then I travel to discover, and sometimes I go to a few places before selecting one, and nothing, I just feel I select that location which seems to be most suited to the drama of the scenes. That's what I do.
Saad Baroj.
Saad Baroj.
You mentioned Mansoor Al-Hajjaj once during a conference. How did you adapt his story in Tamasha?
I did adapt the story of Mansoor in Tamasha, but I mean, for people who wouldn't know, he had said Anal Haq, which means that I am God, and then he was killed for that at that time. This Sufi mystic, writer, poet, thinker, because how can he be God? And it is a shirk or a blasphemy to say so. But the fact is, what he was trying to say is that I am a part of the energy, and everything all put together is God. The whole universe and everything is God, so I am God as well. So I didn't adapt the story, I just used Anal Haq as a dialogue to bring a certain